Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Lightning. Today I wanted to just kind of show you the status of the project and where it is right now, since I haven't had a video up for kind of a long time. So I'm just going to do a walk around the shop and just point you at different things that are going on and just give them a little explanation. So here we are in front of the car. I'm going to pop the hood open here. And let's take a look at what's going on. So I don't have the battery pack installed at the moment, but what I do have going on is this. This is the steering linkage, the lower steering intermediate shaft is what it's called. And you can see that I have a bunch of U-joints on this. That is basically, it's just necessary in order for me to make this work. So the steering shaft is going to be input over on this side here. So this is going to spin as you spin the steering wheel, and I'll show you on the inside. And then this would normally slip up in there. And then as you turn that, it would turn the wheels. And my wheels are on the ground at the moment, so I can't turn them by hand. But that's the idea. The issue is I did all this work, and then I went and I tested it, and it binds. Yeah, so the problem is this section, actually, you can see it right here, that this is just way too sharp of a turn. So this can turn about 30 degrees, and here it's probably closer to 40. And so that isn't gonna work. And this is just because the full set of having these two here, totally good. It's gonna work. It's just that the placement of this this joint is called a Heim joint. And the idea is that this supports the shaft. As you can see, not very well at the moment. It kind of wiggles around quite a bit, but this is just for testing. And so this, I basically need to move out until probably this direction, until I can get it so that this angle is more smooth, and this whole thing will just kind of come this direction and then line up with this down there. So it was just very frustrating working on it for so long, and then getting to a point and having it not work. And so that was a bit frustrating. So I'm also working on the interior. So let me jump in here in the car. Hopefully not fall over. So as you can see, the car, I can't see. There we go. So as you can see, the car is totally empty. Everything has been pulled out. This is just some stuff here so I can lay down and and not be rolling in the dirt. Yeah, so everything is stripped. Let me show you the front. There's no dash, there's no steering column, nothing. Everything has been removed. And then under here, this is the steering column. You can also see this is the new firewall, and this is the steering column support up here. So this has all been fabricated by me. So yeah, it's really cool. It's gonna work great, but man, was it just so much work. And then on the inside here, this is what you saw peeking out the other side of the firewall. So this is gonna come up to about this area, and then this rotates around, and this one does not bind. So I'm really happy with its placement, but as you can see, there is another Heim joint on here, and so I need to make a bracket for the inside to mount that. So let me just explain why I'm making such a big deal about the steering. Okay, so let me get over here this. So this is the brake booster. This brake booster is going to go right in this area. And so it's going to go through that little hole in there, which I need to actually make a hole for it through the interior firewall plate. But then you see that this gets very close to hitting on there. And so I need to get that steering column or steering shaft placed properly before I can place this. And it will have a little bit of an angle on it, so maybe about like that. And so that's where it's going to sit. This has to be pressed up as close as possible on this side here, because the battery pack is going to sit over here. And so this is the only place that I can make it work. So yeah, so basically I have to have steering, and then after I have steering, so I have to have steering, and then after I have steering, I can have brakes. And then once I get the brakes, the brake booster in the right spot, then I need to mount the pedals. And then once the pedals are mounted and the brakes are mounted and the steering is mounted, I can finalize all the welds and make all this look nice and be very strong and sturdy. So all of the brackets that I'm making right now, I'm making out of 16 gauge mild steel. Once I've got them cut and sized properly, I will switch over to 1/8 inch steel, recut them. I'm actually going to send them to Send Cut Send and have them make them, send them to me. I will weld them together and then they will be amazing. So there's just a lot of work going on there and it's really difficult. I didn't expect this to be the most difficult thing that I was going to run into, because everyone has these steering, situations with their car. But it's very hard to make things work right and to find really solid information out there. I've found information that's like specific to very specific cars. Like if you're doing a 50s Chevy or a 60s Mustang, I've found really great information for those things, but not in a generic sense. And so it's just been as a work in progress. And so I'm getting there. So yeah, there's nothing on the inside of the car. Let's go back here. If you want to see the battery boxes and things, the battery modules are still sitting under here and ready to go. Up here, I've got all of the high voltage components. And this is where I've been using a bit of a workbench for the steering and the brake pedals and stuff like that. But that's all the high voltage components back there. So here's the rear where the electric motor is. And that is all good there. Totally mounted in the exact right spot, so we're all good. Here is the steering column. And so yeah, this is the steering column that's going in the car. This is from the Bolt. And so I have electric power steering. And as soon as I bolt that up, we're good to go. And it does, I've already done this. So I have already in the car mounted up on that little bracket the steering column, and I put the seat back in and then sat there. It is both tilting and telescoping, and I confirmed that it is well placed. So I can get a very comfortable seating position in there with the steering wheel, and it all feels really good. So I'm super happy with that. Again, it took me about 10 tries to actually get that to work, but it is there now. What else do I want to show you on this side? So this is the battery box that has been shown off before, and that's most of the cooling supply over there and seat. And then this is the other battery box that's going to go up front. So let me also, actually while I'm here, here's the pedals. So this is the pedal box that's going to go under there, obviously. You need to be able to hit the pedals. And I will have to modify this somewhat, and I already have. So this, the gas pedal is great. It's in a perfect spot. The brake pedal, though, the problem is it needs to output, like this is where it presses on that, on the brake master cylinder, and that is not going to work for me. So I am going to put a piece of metal here that attaches to this guy, and then this I'm going to cut off and transplant over here. That way, as you move this, the brake master cylinder will be on this side of it. So I have to do some modifications there just to make everything be in the right spot and work. So now let's travel to the other side of the shop. Yeah, I've got headlights and random things there, and a metal bending brake, which does not work for 16 gauge metal. And then here is the entire wiring harness from the Chevy Bolt, or at least what's left of it. So I've got tons of footage of me taking the wiring harness and stripping out a bunch of things I don't need. And like, let's see what we got over here. So like this here is all of the pieces that are for the crash sensing and airbags and things like that. So this module here is the inflatable restraint module, and it takes all of those inputs and then decides, oh, you're in a car accident, I need to hit the airbags. And so all of that I've tried to get isolated because I'm not going to use any of that. And then also back here, these are all the tail lights and random cables. I'm just trying to keep everything as organized as possible. I have got the car running on the floor here. So that's pretty cool, and I'm super happy about that. Up here, my little welding station. Not a ton going on right now. You can see I've got some battery modules. Here's a neat thing that I've been working on, which is I've 3D printed these little pieces here, and so these pieces wrap around the module. That one's not cut out at the moment, and then this side goes over here. And when you put them on, it allows you to get a wrench around the bolt right there and tighten it down, and it's well placed, so it's perfectly centered there to make sure that these bolts that are going through the modules are centered, and that is because they will work better when they're centered. Once I try and mount them up in the battery boxes, it'll get pretty complicated if I don't do that. Speaking of battery boxes, so I went to Send Cut Send, and I sent them some plans for these. This is the small battery module battery boxes. I think, I'm not sure which is which. This one might be the one that is under the rear pack, or it might be the one that's up front in the gas tank area. They're both the same thing, just slightly mirrored. But this is, as you can see, just tacked up at the moment. And then this is the front cover. And so these just fit. I mean, it is just perfect. I love using Send Cut Send. It is just a game changer. So much easier than trying to fabricate this stuff by myself, and it just goes a lot faster. Over here, I've also got the other one. So I haven't even taken them out of the box yet. But so that Send Cut Send box there has all of the other battery module in it. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, steering, brakes, brake pedals in the pedal box, battery modules, and then wiring. That's all the things that I'm working on right now, all at the same time. So it is coming along. But I wanted everything to be in a state where I could drive the car around the block by 4th of July, which is like a month from now. It's not happening. Not only do I not have it has taken me 5 times as long to get the steering situation under control. I thought that was going to be an easy thing. Like I was just like, whatever, I'll put the shafts in, it'll work, great. But it's taken me like 6 weeks at least, and it still isn't working. So that's what's really slowing me down right now. But I'm forging ahead. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I appreciate you watching, and if this seems like a fun project, you won't want to miss out on the next episode. So please subscribe and leave a comment below. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Project Lightning.